Hello, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully everyone is having a wonderful day. My name is Dusty Porter, here to do the TubeBuddy live stream today. I'm so excited. I missed last month, and I was a little depressed about it. It was a little bit my fault. Had a little bit of a scheduling snafu, but I am back ready to go and get going. So set the microphone to mono. Oh, I'm using a new streaming software today, so maybe there are going to be a couple of hiccups here, but hopefully not. Let's see here. Mono, I will do that shortly, Andrew. We shall, if there is a way to do that. I think there is a way to do that. Here we go, microphone here. But yes, I am so excited to be here today, guys. Thank you so much for having me here, and I am just want to say a huge thank you to TubeBuddy for allowing me to do this each and every third or fourth week of the month. I get to come on here and talk YouTube. The past couple of times I've gotten to kind of merge the two passions of YouTube as well as podcasting, and so for that I'm super excited. So I see a lot of people in here who are regulars, so welcome back, everyone. Let us know where you guys are coming from in the chat there. Love to find out where folks are coming from. Lily, I see you in chat. YT Loser, Vanessa, Sam, and a huge thank you to Andrew Can, the moderator, the person who keeps me in track and always finds ways to to help me any way that he possibly can. So thank you, Andrew, for that. I really do appreciate that. We got Dan Norton in the chat, Crypto Country, Tech Spotter, Ryo, all kinds of folks coming in here from all over the country, all over the world, Germany, Nashville, all over the place. As you guys are kind of funneling in here, I'm going to try to adjust my audio settings to get the microphone coming in here as stereo, so you'll have to forgive me, Andrew, if it doesn't. Oh, let's see, microphone. I don't know why it's not going in stereo, but I can tinker with that as we progress here. But how is everyone doing today? Hopefully you all are having a wonderful day today. I know I am. Also want to let you guys know that we have a Google Forms sheet where you can submit your questions to me, about the topic we're talking about today, as well as other stuff in regards to YouTube. And so with that being said, we can definitely dive into that. Beanie says Andrew is awesome. I think so as well. Let's see here. Holy crap, I'm actually not preoccupied when a TubeBuddy stream is happening. That's amazing. Harley, what's going on? Welcome. India, a couple of folks in here from India. Beanie, I finally finished recording my first video in over a month. Hey, man, sometimes you just got to get back on the train. Sometimes as a creator, we think that we've been gone for so long that there's no point in coming back. There's no point in uploading a video. That is not the case at all. I'm trying to fix the whole stereo thing. If you need to, guys, I do apologize if you need to go and change that to where you're listening through a speaker and not through your headphones. I do apologize. I am using Streamlabs OBS, not a promotion, not an advertisement. It's just a new piece of software that I'm using. So if you guys will give me a second, I'll try to fix that. But today we're going to be talking about how to use a podcast to grow a YouTube channel. We're going to be talking all things YouTube growth. We're going to be talking all things online video. So if this is something that intrigues you, please stick around. I've got a slide deck prepared with a couple of points that I really want to get to. So I really think you guys are going to enjoy this. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I am. Alrighty then. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. And if you guys haven't already, check out TubeBuddy. We are now on both mobile platforms that are used by most people, either iOS or Android. Get the app. It is amazing, as well as a browser extension for Chrome and Firefox and Safari and a couple of other browsers as well. So definitely check that out, and I am going to be doing some research here behind the scenes. All right. Breath Fitness was talking about podcasting today, so this came at the perfect time. Awesome. Beanie, I rotated my headphones so it's on my forehead. No problem. I will fix this. You guys don't worry. I will fix this. Let's see. It looks like this, for some reason, this feature is not available to Streamlabs. That's really unfortunate. I do apologize for that, guys. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't have the option to go to mono, so I will not be using this in the future. I did learn to this. Let's see, you have to in your mixer settings down mix to mono. I do apologize for that, guys. So you will have to bear with me on the whole audio side of things today. That is my fault. I was about to say when I was talking about the mobile apps, I got the new phone, the new iPhone XS Max, and so it's a great phone. It's just bigger, to be honest with you. There's nothing that much special about it. But I was using the TubeBuddy app, and I was thinking, well, maybe they haven't updated to the newest version of the UI size. But nope, they did, and it's as amazing as ever. So definitely check out the TubeBuddy app on the mobile device. And Andrew, if you want to do some research in the background while I continue onward here, move forward to see how I can change it to stereo or change it back down to mono, please let me know, Andrew, via PM or private message, and we can fix that. So, Lily, Dusty got the phone bling. Yes, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I also say that it's for my work. I've already done a video on how to do something on the new iOS 12 on the phone, and it's already gotten like 5 or 6K views. The one I did last year for the new iOS version of the phone ended up paying for the phone like ×2. And so I tell my wife that, hey, listen, this is for work. I'm going to write it off and all of that good stuff. Andrew, is this Streamlabs? Yes, Streamlabs OBS. I'm trying to switch over to them because I like a lot of their features. Check on that for me, Andrew. If there's a way to do that, I will do that quickly. I know it's frustrating for people. Tech Spotter, Android app is currently helping me like magic. Awesome app. I love that. Glinda, the sound is fine coming in on my iPhone and broadcasting on my large screen LG TV. Dusty, this is my first time viewing you live, brother. Well, Stony Ridge Farmer, welcome, my friend. Hopefully you will enjoy the show. I've got a lot of fun stuff planned for you guys today, and so really excited. Glinda says I'm on her large screen TV. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Take a picture of that and tweet it at me, Glinda. That would be cool to see. All right, so we're going to get into today's subject. If you see me drink this like weird looking concoction here, let's see, Dusty, you have to do it in your mixer settings, the gear icon. Is it within Streamlabs though? Is it within Streamlabs, or do I go through Windows, or how do I do it? Let me know. Gain is also a bit high. Oh, we can change the gain. The gain is an easy problem to fix. There we go. We'll fix that just a little bit there. Again, guys, bear with me. We shall fix this here. Yep, this should be a little better for you guys. I know I can get loud. I can get loud. Yes, within Streamlabs, you said. Okay, so let's go here to this. Okay, we will see if we can do this. Is it a filter? Not sure if it is a filter. Gain, noise gate, noise suppressor. Not sure. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this week's topic. I'm coming in a little bit, brain gain back up 1/16 near audio sources and Streamlabs. It's a gear icon, huh? I just looked at that. That was weird. I just looked at that. Well, I don't want to waste much time on this, guys. I will do one thing here. Gear icon. Oh, I see. Oh, mixer. There we go. Oh, I think I found it. I think I found it, guys. Monitor off. Mic, down mix to mono, testing 1 2, testing 1 2. This should have fixed it, Andrew. Andrew, I think you just fixed it. I think you just fixed it, Andrew. I think we should be good to go now. Coming in on both channels at you live. Down mix to mono. Beautiful. Look at that. We're solving problems here. What I was saying is that this is a smoothie that I made, and so if it looks disgusting to you, it's really not. It's just strawberries and bananas and a lot of fun stuff. My daughter had a cold. I'm trying to do this. So, Crypto, I can hear out of both headphones now. Whoop, whoop. That's what I'm talking about. Listen. You know what I'm talking about. Behind every good man is a great woman. Well, behind every good streamer is an Andrew Can, okay? Put that somewhere on your resume, whatever you want to do, Andrew. That was fantastic. Thank you for helping me. All right, so let's dive into this thing. What's in Michael's bag first time viewing? Well, man, I hope you enjoy it. I really do. I've got some good stuff planned for you guys today, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. All right, so let's dive into this thing now. All right, so today we're going to be talking about using a podcast to grow a YouTube audience. Andrew, if I can, you can too. That's awesome. So today we're going to be talking about using a podcast to grow a YouTube audience. As you can see here with the nice little screen deck that I have here. Using a podcast to grow a YouTube audience. So I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about today when it comes to podcasting and YouTube. And so with that being said, let's dive into the different mediums. I've talked about this before here on the stream, so we're not going to go too deep into this. You've got to think of the differences between a podcast and a YouTube channel, right? So how are people consuming podcasts? How are people consuming YouTube videos? Now, normally, people that are consuming podcasts are either running, they're working out, they're doing things around the house, they're doing different things like that. And so you've got to think about, you're probably going to be with that person a little longer than they would if they're watching one of your YouTube videos, which is more short-form content. Even if you create longer vlogs, a podcast normally is around 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the type of podcast that it is. And so with audio content, we're talking today of how to translate that audience into a YouTube audience. And so I want to move on now to my first point, and I really did some research on this, and I really thought about kind of what I wanted to talk about today, because I have a lot of people ask me all the time, well, Dusty, you do YouTube content, and it's fantastic, but I really want to understand that you have to really differentiate the different mediums. There's video, and then there's audio, right? So what's the difference between them? How are they consumed? So we got that out of the way. So you understand the difference, right? You got more longer form content, you've got more shorter form content, okay, with your video and audio. So now how do you translate and get those people from your podcast to your YouTube channel? Now we can talk about how to get them back and forth from your video content to your audio, but today we're going to be talking about using an audio podcast to go and to take that audience and help you bring it to your video. So let's talk about that briefly today, and I've got a couple of things I want to show you guys. All right. So in a podcast, you have much longer to promote your channel. When you open a podcast, when I open a podcast, there's typos there. There's typos. What in the world? There's a typo on my slide. I do apologize for that. I will never go back to that slide. I had my wife check these last night. She's a teacher. I'm going to have to get on her. But you have much longer to promote your YouTube channel. So in the intro, you can say, hey guys, this is Dusty with the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Find me here and here. And all throughout that episode, for 30 minutes to an hour, you can sprinkle in, oh, you can check out this video on my channel for this. Or if you like this content, go to my YouTube channel. The link will be in the show notes. Now, a lot of people think that you don't have a way to link people to your content, right? You don't have a way to link people from podcasts. That's not true. If you go, and I will switch over now and go and show you this right here. If we go right here and we look at the podcast app on the phone here, and then we go to any podcast that you're listening to, you're going to see here that there are tons of links in the show notes. You can't see it because of the way the lighting is here in the studio, but there's going to be all types of links there within the show notes that can help you get people from the podcast to your YouTube channel. And so with that being said, you've got to think of how people are navigating, how they're consuming your content. They're like, oh, I do like this guy. And thirdly, you are building trust with those people. You are in their ears for 30 minutes a week or multiple times a week if you do a bi-weekly show. So you've got to think of the different ways that people are going and they're consuming your podcast, and then how to get them from that show, from where they're listening to your podcast, over to your YouTube channel. Now, that's where the fun begins. That is where the fun begins. And over a time span of about 3 or 4 years and about 500 podcasts uploaded, I've got 120 some odd over on the TubeBuddy Express podcast feed. I've got 130 some odd episodes on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. See, I'm doing it now. I'm trying to get you guys to go to my podcast, which will eventually lead you to my YouTube channel. And so with that being said, I want to kind of tell you some things that I've learned after producing a couple of those different things, with those podcasts. So you need to go where the people are gathering. More and more people are listening and consuming audio content. You have to think and imagine what's going on in the world today. People are using podcast apps. They're using CarPlay in their cars. They're using, different devices. They're using their humongous smartphones like what I just have here. They're listening and consuming audio content. And so if that's the case and you want to get them to watch your YouTube channel, you need to understand that you need to go where they are. And if you're just producing video content, video after video, but you're not going where people are, which is, like, I think podcasting is about to see another big boom, even though it's been around for a while. People are going to be able to access podcasts so easily, okay? That's one of the great things about our mobile devices now, is that we can watch YouTube wherever and whenever we are. And so with that being said, podcasts are so easily consumed. A podcast app comes on the Google and Android phones. It comes on the iOS phones. And so with that being said, it's one of those things to where now people are just there. They're there listening to podcasts, whether it be with the Anchor app, whether it be with the podcast, the Overcast app. They're consuming audio content. And so what I really want you guys to understand is that you're missing a complete side of the coin if you are not producing audio content. And so when I tell people that, they're like, well, I don't know. Podcasting seems so hard. It seems so tough. Well, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. There's nothing going to come easy. You know, it's funny. One of the more frequent emails that I get and messages that I get is this. How do I get 100,000 subscribers? How do I get 10 million views? People want something now. They want something for nothing. But see, a podcast is a long-term gain. A podcast is something that you can build trust over multiple weeks for a person, and they will eventually, after multiple weeks with you possibly, and spending that time with you as you're in their ear for 30 minutes, 45 minutes a week, they will then say to themselves, oh, that guy Dusty that I've been listening to his podcast, why don't I go and subscribe to his YouTube channel? He's talking about it all the time. He's linking to it all the time. He's making it easy for me. And so you've got to understand that you can go and you can really use a podcast to promote your YouTube content. I see a lot of questions about like frequency. Pixum Web, how often should you create a podcast? I've always stuck to the weekly format. I release my YouTube Creators Hub show midweek, Wednesday or Thursday, normally on Wednesdays, depending on the guest that I have on the show. And then I do the TubeBuddy Express podcast, which is a show that I'm allowed to do because of TubeBuddy, like what I'm doing right now. I release that every Friday, and I have not missed one for over a couple of years. And so what I found by that, and this is research and data that I've gathered. This isn't like me getting on here rambling about something that I don't have data to back up. I have multiple people on a weekly basis who send me instant messages on Facebook and Twitter and things like that, and they say, Dusty, I heard you on your podcast, which then led me to your YouTube channel, and I found some really great tutorials on your YouTube channel because I was a podcast listener first. You would be surprised at how many people listen to podcasts much more than they consume video content. Now, I'm not saying that's the great majority of people, because it's probably not, especially for younger generations. But for a lot of people, they don't have time to sit and watch video after video after video. But what they do have time for is to go and put an AirPod in, put some headphones in, press play on the podcast player, and you're good to go. You see, they do have time to do that because they can listen and multitask. We always want to see how we can multitask and do things more easier, more efficiently. How do you manage the various podcast and video creation? Well, at times I fail at it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's times when I struggle with a time commitment, and I have a family as well. For those of you who don't know, I have a 3-year-old daughter. I have another daughter on the way in late February of next year, and so I have a lot of going on, but this is my full-time job. This is what I do. I'm a podcaster. I'm a content creator. And so if I did not see the benefit in creating audio content, I would not. You see what I'm saying? There's a reason why Tim Smoyer with Video Creators has a podcast. There's a reason why Roberto, who streams on this here stream, talks about his podcast and what he's doing over there with Create Awesome and things that he's doing. There's a reason why Nick and Owen, who also stream on this here stream, have a podcast together. It is because there is benefit in audio content. There is benefit in having stuff that can be more long form as opposed to just videos. And so with that being said, I want to encourage you guys, you can do it for free. Like it's not something that costs money anymore. Now, I recommend in the long term you go and you get an audio host and you do it that way. But there are free apps like Anchor.fm that Andrew was promoting in the chat there. It's completely a free app, and we have someone on our TubeBuddy team who actually has done some amazing tutorials on it, and she, I don't want to mispronounce her name because she's a sweet person, and Andrew, you can put her name in chat, but she has absolutely done some amazing amazing tutorials on Anchor.fm. I've done some tutorials on Anchor, but her name is Salma. I believe that's her name. I believe that's how you say her name. Salma. Look for her on YouTube. She's done some great tutorials on how to create podcasts with Anchor for free. It's amazing. It's an amazing tool. There's more and more stuff coming out for podcasts that can help you create things. Are you posting this podcast on a different platform or via YouTube? Now, I've talked about this before a couple of times on the stream here. I do not recommend republishing or reposting. I've tried it, and I've used tools that are supported here on with TubeBuddy. I don't recommend you post the audio as a video form on your YouTube channel. Number one, I know that's the easy way out, but to be honest with you, I'm publishing it on all of Eileen also has tons of Anchor tutorials. I forgot that Eileen also has tutorials. So go check out Eileen. Go check out Salma. All of them have some amazing, amazing tutorials. Eileen does some great stuff. I believe she helped me in the beginning with Anchor as well. So she can kind of preach the Anchor FM tool as well. But I really wouldn't recommend uploading your podcast in a video form unless you do like a talking head. Now, one thing I have found to be beneficial is a lot of times I will live stream my interviews, and I've done this, and I've seen great success with people going back and watching those interviews. Some people like to see faces. Some people like to see people have conversation. And so with that being said, a live stream of the interview as you're recording it can be beneficial, but I'm normally uploading to my audio host, and then I'm distributing that podcast either to to iTunes, to Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and Spotify. And soon to be the Amazon ecosystem through the different ways that they're allowing you to post, like Amazon briefings and things like that. I found benefit to that, but I would not upload directly to them. Crypto. Basically, Anchor.fm is the way to help you produce the podcast, help you get it out there, and then Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud. You think of those places as the carriers, the providers. You think of iTunes as like the YouTube of audio, right? Like they basically allow you to go, and they're able to sort and categorize the different podcasts and put them and rank them against each other, and you're able to consume them through their platform. Dusty, I'm curious. I'm 33. Do you have any insight on how to explain to the old fogies that I'm not just wasting my time and this could be an eventual career? Just tired of old people critiques. That's a good question, and it's something that you probably a lot of us have gone through. Sometimes you just have to put your head down and do it. And I was fortunate to which the people surrounding me, to where my parents, the older people surrounding me, I'm close to your age, a little younger, but I had some very supportive people. Find people who are supporting you, surround yourself with those people, and go forward that way. A lot of times it can get really frustrating to have people tell you and have naysayers, and I remember when I recorded my first voiceover audition and my demo, and I sent that to my mom and dad, and I got the job. I got the audition, I landed the job, and I sent them the final product of the voiceover, and they were so proud, and they were so happy and so excited. But I had friends and people around me tell me that the voiceover industry is so crowded, you'll never make it, you need to be in Los Angeles, you can't do it from your home, and they would tell me this and this and this. But I can tell you now that I make a decent income every month from companies hiring me to be their voice, and it's all started from years ago. I had the guts to go out and go out on a limb. So Dan said, Dusty, I've told you before on Patreon, but it was the Creators Hub podcast that changed my mindset as a filmmaker on what a YouTube creator is. A podcaster, highly effective. I think so, and I think that's a good example of what Dan just said. It was through my podcast. It could be anybody's podcast. I'm not saying my podcast in general. Let's just use this example for this purpose. But Dan listened to the show, okay? What I try to do there is to motivate, to encourage, to give advice, to give some strategical help to people on the podcast. It helped him move forward. It helped him get over maybe a roadblock, or maybe to understand what a creator really is. And so that is really cool. That's really cool. Lily, I was told a while back that uploading to iTunes means it gets distributed out to the other apps. That is not true. When you distribute to iTunes, you're creating an RSS feed, and maybe you guys may need to go back. You may need to go back to one of my older streams where I talked about the technical sides of podcasting. That was one of my most critical videos here on the TubeBuddy channel. I had a lot of people criticize some things that I said there, but I really think that some people don't understand that you've got to have an RSS feed, and then you send that RSS feed out to the different platforms like iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, places like that. Hascast, okay, Dusty, you've convinced me. I've just opened a new tab for Anchor, and I'll check out these tutorials. Please do. I really think you guys will find it extremely, extremely beneficial. And so basically the last thing I want to talk about and touch on is that this is a more intimate medium to start building trust. If you have a video on YouTube and you're publishing one every week or one every 2 weeks, and you're going and you're uploading, I'm really nervous about publishing my slides now because I'm thinking there's going to be a typo, but this one, it looks good to me right now. But you have to understand that when you are with somebody for a longer amount of time, when you're in their ear, when you're with them doing chores, when you're with them on a run, on a workout, you are able to build much more trust than you are. You are able to build much more trust than you are with just a 5 or 7 minute video. Glenda, Dusty just sent the photos you requested. Thank you, Glenda. I really appreciate that. But you're able to build a much more intimate, relationship with that listener. And as you build that trust, and obviously, let's not talk about the business benefits, right? Like, that's the goal of a podcast, is to build trust with the audience, to either get them to take action on maybe buying a service, buying a product, or in your case, it may be subscribing to your YouTube channel. You see what I'm saying? See how you're growing an audience? You're growing an audience, and always think of my tree analogy. And I told this to my wife the other day. We were talking about something, and she had a problem at work and some different things going on there. She's a teacher. And I told her my analogy of kind of with a tree. For those of you who haven't heard it, you got to think of your business, your YouTube channel, as a tree. If all you have is your YouTube channel, so if all you have is your YouTube channel, that is all you're doing. You're putting all your eggs into one basket, right? All you have is the tree trunk, right? You're going straight up, okay? That's going to be, when people are falling, think of people falling from the sky. When they're falling from the sky, it's going to be very hard for you to catch them and have them come into your ecosystem. But when you have branch after branch, and you have a podcast, and you have a website, and you have an email list, and you have your social media accounts, you have this and that, you're much more easily able to catch those people and bring them in to what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? You're able to bring them in and have them as a part of your ecosystem. And so I think it's extremely critical that you don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And I think by starting a podcast, creating audio content, not only are you able to build more trust, but you're able to have something else that you can promote, something else that people can find you. I'm not now just Dusty from the Dusty Porter YouTube channel. I'm Dusty Porter from the TubeBuddy Express podcast. I'm Dusty Porter, who hosts the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, which ranks very frequently in the top 50 podcasts for business on iTunes. And so now I have more of these things. Lily, I've got a solid trunk. I now need to spread my branches. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I really want to encourage you. Wow, we have had a solid 65 plus in the stream so far, all stream long for the first 30 minutes. You guys are amazing. You guys are just killing it right now. Glenda, I'm just coming back to YouTube after being gone for about 9 years, editing several videos right now, and I'm older than Palm Beach's Palm. It doesn't, I get tired, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. There are people killing it on YouTube of all generations. There's people that are 70 and 80 doing, I interviewed a guy. He was a Santa Claus. He started a YouTube channel when he was 71 years old, okay? That podcast episode has like 28,000 downloads a month just on that one episode. And he started a channel talking about his journey as a Santa Claus during the season, and he gets like thousands of views a day. He's got like almost 100,000 subscribers, and he's like 76 now. The dude is absolutely killing it. And I want to encourage you guys, don't worry about your age. Don't worry about where you are, what season you're in right now. Just put your head down and really think of what you're doing and go get it. Go get it. All right, guys, so hopefully you've learned something and you can take something from this. If anything, hope you understand the benefit of a podcast now, especially for a YouTube creator. And so now what I'm going to do is, Andrew, if you would, go ahead and link that the Google form there in the I guess you would say the chat there for me, and let's go ahead and start fielding questions. So if you would, go ahead and put those questions there in the Google form. Tell me your channel name, what your question is. I will not be answering questions that say things such as, how can I get 1,000 subscribers? I'm trying so hard. Guys, there's so many resources online. I can't sit here and tell you how you can individually get 1,000 subscribers, right? Like I would have to do a channel review, a channel audit, and really have like 6 to 8 sessions with you to talk about your content individually. So please ask me more specific questions that can be helpful for people who are, either wanting to start a podcast or wanting to grow on YouTube. More specific, detailed questions. That's going to be a lot more, helpful and useful for the people here. Blush, I need to understand what is a podcast and how it will help us grow. I think I just did a pretty good job of laying it out there what a podcast is. It is an audio, an audio recording. Sometimes there's video podcasts as well, but for the purposes of what I'm talking about, it is an audio piece of content that people listen to for about 15, 30, 45, or 60 minutes on their devices or their computer, whatever it may be. And it's just a great form of media to build trust with people in your audience. All right. So now that Andrew has put the form in there, you guys go ahead and give me your questions. I will get to them as quickly as I possibly can. Lily asked, does the rise of Alexa or similar devices change anything for creating podcast content, format, links, etc.? Okay, so there's something now that is coming out as Alexa and the HomePod, which I have sitting over here to my left. As more home devices are released, Lily, we're going to see that, like right now, there's like the Alexa briefings to where you can, record and upload podcasts to the Alexa platform and do it that way. I think what's cool about that, think of it this way, whereas generations in the past, people would get up and they would turn on Fox or CNN or NBC, and they would consume their news for the day in the morning, and they would get the weather and things like that as they were getting ready on their TV. Now you can say, hey, Alexa, play my briefings, right? Or play my whatever, podcast, whatever, and it will play your little briefings. And if you do quick briefings, which is something that I'm looking into doing for my shows, it's going to give more bite-sized chunks of audio for people to listen to, and that's how a lot of people are going to be getting their news. Like, I listen to way more podcasts than I do radio. I consume more podcasts and audio content than I do video. As a dad of a young girl and one more little one to come here soon, I'm on the move. I'm on the go all the time. So a lot of times I'll be at the playground. I'll have one of my AirPods in. I'll be playing with Macy, having a great time, my daughter, and I'll be listening to a podcast in the background. I'll be on my bike. I have a stationary bike here at the house, and I'll be listening to a podcast. You got to think, again, like I mentioned at the top of this episode here, how are people consuming your podcast? All right, next question. Coming in from Social Guider, okay? What is the extent you share on a podcast? I have a problem of oversharing. Where should I draw the line? I've never heard anyone ask the questions about. Eileen says she listens to podcasts all day long. Absolutely. Me too, Eileen. I'm a podcast junkie. I always erred on the side of undersharing when I first started as a podcaster. I have found that I've had more success in the recent months and years becoming more transparent with people and letting them know more about who I am as a person. Like years ago, I would never have told someone that my wife was a teacher or that I had a child or anything like that. But I think the more that people can get to know you. Now, obviously, you want to be safe, right? You don't want to share your address and where you are currently and all of that stuff. But I think transparency translates to trust. Transparency translates to people believing in the person, right? Transparency makes people believe that you're not just a personality, but you're an actual real human being. And I also, I'm an audio producer, and so not only do I produce my own shows, but part of my business is people hire me to edit and produce their podcast. One of my favorite things that I get to do on a weekly basis. This one guy hired me. It was a couple of months ago, and he sent me his audio, and I thought to myself when I listened to the first episode, it was a daily show, 5 minutes per episode. When I listened to his voice, I was like, there's no way that this guy is real. Like, this is a fake voice. Like, this is a robot, because he would enunciate every word he would say. He thought that he had to say, he thought that he had to be somebody that he was not. And that translates over to YouTube as well. Transparency is such a big deal when it comes to a content creator. You want to be transparent. You want people to know who you are. I have a great sense of humor. And for the first few years of podcasting, people never knew that. Like, I love to laugh. I love to make people laugh. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I want people who consume my content to know that about me. I want them to realize that about me, who I am. And so I think there is a thing that is oversharing, but be careful because you don't want to undershare either. I think there's probably a good middle ground there. The Rich and Rich show, what's an ideal length for a podcast? Now, the ideal length for a podcast is this. It is the amount of time you need to get across your point, to get across the content needed to be shared without going too long. What is the old saying? The mind can only consume or tolerate what the butt can tolerate, or something like that. Basically meaning that if you have people sitting down for a long amount of time, they are not going to be able to because you're dragging on and on. When I first started my podcast, Rich and Rich, it was an hour-long show. It got to a point to where it was dragging on way longer than it probably should have. And so I pieced it down to 30 minutes, and I found that is the sweet spot for me. Think of what people are doing, right? Go back to the beginning of this episode of what I was telling you guys, and think of it this way. If someone's commuting, the average commute possibly 25, 30, 45 minutes. So 30 minutes is good. If someone is running or working out, 30 minutes is good for when people are doing cardio or a 30-minute workout. 30 minutes is kind of a sweet spot. Now, an hour-long podcast, I think those are great as well. And again, there's like the big table podcast where a bunch of people get on a round table. Those podcasts tend to go longer, and that's fine too. You've got to see what type of content you're doing and kind of make it applicable to your type of content. But that's a great question, though. I think that the ideal length is what you need it to be. The culinary cookhouse. Do you think tentpole content strategy is still effective? So tentpole content strategy, a good question. Tentpole content is where you have, like, let's say you have a blog, and you have like 3 or 4 blog posts that are really detailed, really in-depth, and these are the tentpoles, right? You put those in the ground, and this is what your whole channel or your whole blog is going to be built around. I think it still has merit as far as tentpole, but the way YouTube is right now with live streaming and live video and how YouTube wants you to upload frequently, I think the tentpole content, yeah, maybe you have that one video that's sitting there on your YouTube channel that people see and is visible to them whenever they come to your channel. But honestly, to be honest with you, tentpole content is great. More, I guess it's better for like blogging, because YouTube, the way the YouTube ecosystem is now, it's so quickly moving, so quickly evolving. Tentpole content is tough to kind of get across on the online video world. But a great question and a really good point. Dude, D-U-D-E-E, how do I promote my YouTube naturally on my podcast? Very easily. and people ask me this sometimes, and it's funny because it does seem hard at first, but once you start talking, you realize it just fits in conversation. So a lot of times I'll say, I'll be talking about something on my TubeBuddy Express podcast, and I'll be like, I actually just did a video tutorial on this. If you want to go check it out, link will be in the show notes, or you can just go to YouTube and type in X, right? Or in the intro, which is what I always do, and the outro, I say, hey guys, Dusty here from the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. This is episode 121. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. It is linked in the show notes, as well as just go to YouTube and type in Dusty Porter, and there I will be. There's so many different ways you can naturally flow it in. You got to think like you're running an ad spot, and you want it to be as natural as possible. You don't want to like be in the middle of the show and you're like interviewing someone, and you're like, okay, John, okay, Sally, wait a minute. Plug time. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I do want to remind you that I am on YouTube. You don't want to do that, right? You want to be a little more. All right. Next question. Great question, though. Good questions today. Do you upload your podcast to your YouTube channel or host them elsewhere? I'm going to show you what I do. I'm actually going to show you what I have done in the past. As I mentioned, something that I don't like to do now is I don't like to post my YouTube. I don't like to post my podcast as videos anymore. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I used to do here. Give me 1 second to pull this up for you guys. Let me pull up this stream here. There we go. All right, so as you can see here, this is my playlist right now on YouTube for my YouTube Creators Hub podcast playlist. Now, something I used to do, and I've tinkered around, as you can see in the past here, different thumbnails and things like that. I used to upload all of them, and I may go back to it. I think it's something beneficial for my channel. I've got to find the right format for it. Now, what I found to be the best way of doing this, as you can see here, like let's go to the one of the ones here. Here is a live interview. It's got myself and the guest right here on the left. And then it's got a description. And what I found with this type of live stream is it gets a lot of impact. Like, people love this. Now, what they don't like is when you just upload like what you see here, where this is just a static image right here that's got kind of my logo, just like what you see here. And then if I press play,
welcome to the YouTube.
You can see basically it's just going to play the audio on top of this here. Now, people didn't like this. There was not that much, I guess you would say, response from it as when I did the live streams. And so I found that live streams are definitely the best way to go about doing it. So I'll show you now what I have done. So if we go to some of my recent videos here, here's one that I did with D. Nimmin. Here's a video I did with him. As you can see here, we did our interview here and had some great feedback, some really great feedback, as you can see here in the comment section. Now, it's not blowing up as far as views, but what people are finding is that the people who are wanting to consume this content from me are actually enjoying the live streams more because they have the ability to interact with myself and the guest. That's kind of where I'm out there. Motor. Dusty, are you aware that you look like a much younger version of Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20? Not sure who that is. Not sure if that's a compliment or not, but I will take it. Nick Nimmin in the house, congratulating Andrew on 2,500. Yes, congratulations, Andrew. Nick, thank you for stopping by. For those of you who don't know, Nick is one of the best teachers for online YouTube, for YouTube content. So if you're looking to grow on YouTube, like I said, you guys earlier asked me, how to get 1,000 subscribers, how to get 1 million, billion, bazillion views. Go to Nick's channel, watch all the stuff that he does, and he kills it. He is one of my favorite teachers on YouTube, coming from someone who, that's all I do on YouTube is teach people how to use software and tutorials and things like that. Nick does amazing. Rob Thomas is a rock god. Jen Adventures, it's a compliment. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Let's see here. Yes, Nick Nimmin did look fantastic on the podcast. What's up, Catfit? How are you doing? Let's see here. Next question here. Got a lot of great questions coming in from chat today. Palm Beaches Paul. What's the best way to collaborate with another creator when you are starting out? Find a creator who is similar to you in size, and reach out to them, whether it be, normally people love social media. I've found that podcast guests, I find them like on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever, and I'll send them a DM on Twitter. I'll send them a personal message on Facebook, and it's really cool because people normally respond within minutes, sometimes hours. And so find someone, if you're a smaller creator under 1,000 subscribers, find someone else in your niche that is the same size as you, and then go from there. That's what I highly recommend. I would not, you're not going to reach out to Casey Neistat. You're not going to reach out to PewDiePie, and they're going to have you collaborate with them. You've got to really find people your size, and you want to build a relationship with them. Like, before I had D on the show, before I had Nick on my show, and I had Andrew on the show, and Dan Courier from Creator Fundamentals, I built relationships with these guys. Like, I know them now. Like, I know them personally. We've talked off air. I support them from the different platforms they're on. You want to create a bond with that person, so when you do collaborate, it shows through the video. And also, you got to let them know, how is it going to benefit them? I can't tell Andrew, come be a guest on my channel, come be a guest on my podcast. Andrew's a busy guy. He can't sit here and come on everyone's show that wants him to come on their show. He's got stuff to do. How is it going to benefit to him? So understand that. Can you talk about podcasts a little more? I need to know more. I think you can go back to the beginning of this week's kind of live stream and really get a good grasp on podcasting. All right, Shireen Plays. What is the best way to introduce and advertise a podcast on a YouTube channel or a Twitter account? Let me tell you how to do it. You grab your camera, you put your mic on, however you want to do it. You look at the camera, you upload that video, you tell the camera what your podcast is about. Hey guys, Dusty here. I started a new podcast. Here's what it's about. Here's why I think you'll like it. Here's why I think you should subscribe to that podcast. And here's a link down below. That's it. Put it up as your channel trailer on your YouTube channel. Link it in your annotations. Link it in your end cards of all of your videos, which is what I've started to do lately. And boom, there you go. There you go. Andrew, your show benefits my mental health and relaxes me. Awesome. Hopefully I don't put you to sleep, but relaxing, I'll take relaxing. Crypto Country Boy. Being an ex-gamer, I'm used to doing live streams. Even though I speak about different things now, is it still a good idea to do a podcast? Yes, I think so. If you're into crypto, I mean, it's big right now. Like, I know it's kind of in a lull in comparison to where it was maybe at the end of last year. Just a disclaimer, I got into the whole the crypto fad and did fairly well, but got out of it pretty quickly because I'm a baby. I'm a scaredy cat, especially with money. Where I've like, that's why I don't really mess with stocks that much. But if you're a crypto person, Crypto Country Boy, I think that was your name. Why not do live streams and then convert those to podcast? Do an hour-long live stream talking about podcast. I mean, not podcast, talking about crypto, and then upload that to your podcasting feed, and that way you get the best of both worlds. You see what I'm saying? And so crypto is like this, is up and down, like everything. And so with that being said, understand what you need to do and get to it. Absolutely, I think you need to be doing a podcast. Beanie, I'd love to mess with stocks. When I was in school, they had that game where you had a whole bunch of fake money. You started with like, I don't know, $100,000. I don't know if any of you guys used to do this, but we'd play the game where we would buy stocks with fake money. And at the end of that semester, I think I had like $2 million. I had made like my profit had just gone over just up in abundance. And I remember coming home telling my dad that I wanted to get into stocks. And he laughed at me and said, son, it's a lot different when you're dishing out real money as opposed to those fake checks. And he was right. It was very, very nerve-wracking. Let's see here. Muck Rhymer, I love playing games and I want to start to live stream online. What gear do I need? That's a good question. So what gear do you need to live stream? Software, which is what I'm using right now. I'm using Streamlabs OBS. There's a couple of kinks with it, but I'm not sure if I can actually show you. Yeah, I can show you what it looks like here. So if we go here, boom. It's going to look weird, but I'll show you. So right here you can see this guy here is called Streamlabs OBS. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but I'm using this as a tool to live stream. It's absolutely free, so you're going to need something like this to get yourself online. And let me go back to full cam now. And then you're going to need a microphone. So as you can see here, I have the Shure SMB. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Shure SM7B. But you can get a very inexpensive microphone called like the Blue Yeti or the Blue Snowball or something like that, which you can just plug via USB into your computer. You're obviously going to need a computer, internet connection. I know it seems obvious, but people always are like, well, why didn't you tell me about this? I thought it made sense. A good pair of headphones, I think, like this one. I mean, again, there's, I just got these. These are the DT990s. That's just so you can kind of monitor what's going in and out. And then if you are streaming games, you're obviously going to need, the game to play. And I got a ton of tutorials on my YouTube channel. Other people do as well. How to use Twitch and YouTube to stream. And then once you get your microphone, the last thing would be a webcam. I'm using the Logitech C922. I've used the C920. It's right beside it, actually. The one I'm using right now does 4K video. The other one does 1080p. And if you get them for like a Black Friday discount, you probably get them for like $50. So I mean, like all in all, for like $200, you probably can have everything that you need. So start saving now. But I wouldn't recommend starting to stream until you have all of these things. And then obviously, if you have a smartphone, which most people do, like this here, YouTube allows you to go and just go to the YouTube app on your mobile device, press that little live stream button, point it at yourself, and go crazy. I like to do that with my daughter. She loves to see herself on camera. We're actually doing some challenges and stuff for YouTube Kids, which is going to be really fun. I'll tell you guys how that goes. Great question, though. Silver Seeker. Sorry, another question, no problem, related to live streaming. I've heard rumors that the lower retention that naturally comes with live streams affects your other video chances of being recommended. Is this true? I do not have any data that suggests that to be true, but it could be. Andrew could message me here in chat and say, Dusty, they found out that's true. when it comes to all of that, here's what I found. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys and transparent, and I'm going to show you and tell you guys data of what I have gathered. When I do live streams on my YouTube channel on a regular basis, which is something that I want to get back to, something I did for months and months, but I've got away from because life has just gotten crazy. When I live streamed multiple times a week, sometimes mostly one time a week, the overall views and subscriber numbers that I would get on a daily basis would absolutely decrease. It would decrease. And I have no rhyme to the reason. I just did a podcast episode a couple of days ago talking about the freaking algorithm and what is an algorithm and all of that stuff. Sometimes all of this stuff seems mythical in nature. I can't promise you you're going to have the same, I guess you would say your channel's going to have the same response mine did. But when I live streamed on a regular basis, whereas I might get 150 to 200 subscribers per day, that would drop by 25%. I think back then I was getting like 125, 130 subs per day. That dropped to like 60 and 70. Like it was a dramatic decrease. A dramatic decrease. That is the real data that I've seen. When I stopped those live streams and haven't been doing them now for a couple of months, my sub numbers back up, view numbers back up. Now you can see Nick in the chat is absolutely saying he finds it completely opposite. So on his channel, it's completely different. And you have to understand that Nick's channel and my channel, you've got to look at the differences, right? Like Nick's channel is completely a community channel. If you are looking to grow on YouTube, Nick is your guy. It's all about YouTube. It's all about online video. It's all about growth and getting your message heard and spread. My channel, on the other hand, is just tutorials on anything and everything. Just last week, I did a tutorial on how to do Siri shortcuts on iOS 12. The tutorial before that was how to loop audio to an exact timestamp in Adobe Audition. So it's really dependent on your community and the type of channel that you have, and Nick said it best. It's just specific to your channel. So my channel is strictly a how-to channel. I want to be the biggest and best online educator there is. Not about YouTube in general, not about podcasts in general, but about technology, because that's what I love. That's the target audience I'm going for. That's the type of people I want to help out. And so my niche is different than what Nick's doing, than what Roberto's doing. Now, I may pivot and change, but with that being said, hopefully Nick's still here, because I want him to hear this, because I think the benefit of live streaming is beyond and goes more than what I just said. Here's the deal. Live streaming was probably the most, and is the most beneficial thing I do on my channel. And let me explain that, and let me kind of give you data behind that. I began to build up a group of people who would come every week, every day I would stream, and I would build that trust. They would then promote me on other areas, other social outlets and places like that. As I would live stream, my live streams would get picked up by new viewers, people who would be active in chat, people who would share my content, people who would be very interactive, not just the people who would subscribe. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Subscription numbers are just a vanity number. That's all it is. That's all it is. It hurts me to say that. It's a great measuring stick. I love looking at it, but live streams are one of the most beneficial things I've ever done on my channel. The interactivity of a live stream, there is nothing else better. Nick says, I lose 50 to 100 subs per stream, but in terms of the push, I'm finding I get pushed more when I'm streaming. Now, that is funny, because I think that's true. I think the more you stream, and I think maybe the algorithm has changed even the past few months, and maybe I'm wrong. And I really want to look into this and see kind of the different things. But it's funny. I think what happens is people who are subscribed to you and subscribed to you a long time ago see that you're live streaming. Like, why did I subscribe to that guy? And they just unsubscribe. I think that's honestly what it is, right? You got active people, inactive people, that kind of thing. But it's good to have Nick here to kind of get a varying opinion on this, because, again, this is just, it'll vary by your channel. All right, don't see any more questions there in the forum, but I will take some questions really quickly in the last 5 minutes there in chat. So if you have anything that you want to ask me, go ahead and do some rapid-fire questions here in chat, and we will try to get to those as quickly as possible. So Nick said, a trusted friend also said streams hurt them as well, and another one used to do 24/7 streams but had to stop because it was hurting them. I think there's something to it. I think, again, it's community-based, but I think you really got to see how it affects your channel and go with that. Deepwater, is this video going to stay up? Yes, it will stay up. It'll be uploaded as a VOD, a video on demand. You can just watch it like you would any other YouTube video. Any specific tips for gaming channels? Be different. I'm not talking about the games you play. You can play Fortnite. I don't care. It's a fun game. But be different. What makes you different? What is your stitch? What is your niche? What are you going to dress up? Are you going to do you have a funny character that you're going to play as you're streaming? Be different. There's tons of people trying to do gaming streaming right now. Be different. Andrew, my streams have been helping me grow, but it's because I've been focusing on community. Absolutely. Absolutely. Live chats is new to me, but I love the connection. The connection is the main benefit for me for live streaming. I love the connection, the interactivity. I will take losing subs and losing views if it means that I can create a more interactive and engaged community. Would it be a good idea to start a podcast that is telling a story, like one chapter each podcast? I love that idea. I forgot to say, one of the main benefits of a podcast is that the format can be whatever you want it to be. I love those storytelling podcasts. I love storytelling. I'm a storyteller myself, and I love that. So absolutely. Let's see. Live streams have made Doug Halston explode as well. Yep, Doug's done really well with live streaming. Should I stop uploading videos for like 2 or 3 weeks, then resume? I see no benefit in that. I'm not sure what you would try to accomplish by that. I would say no, unless you just have to take a break, and that's fine too. All right, guys, while we have a little time here, I do want to say a huge thank you to TubeBuddy. Wow, what an opportunity it is to get on here each and every month and talk about YouTube and podcasting and content creation. They're not just a tool that you can use via mobile app or browser plugin. They're also a place that is taking content like this and bringing it to you guys. And they're doing it in such a good way. So thank you, TubeBuddy, for allowing me to do this every month. I really do enjoy it. What to do to get in suggested video list of YouTube? There's so many things that go into that. So many elements. I've actually done videos on that. So is Nick and other people. I definitely would go check that out. Andrew, thank you, Dusty. You are welcome, my friend. Thank you. You always help me maintain and understand what I need to get done once we get the live streams going. Don't forget, guys, as always, you can subscribe to my channel for more great tech tutorials and teachings if that's something that interests you. Don't forget to subscribe to the TubeBuddy channel here. Also, my podcast, YouTube Creators Hub, where I interview creators. And then the TubeBuddy Express Show every Friday, where I talk about YouTube in about an 8 to 10 minute bite-sized chunk. With that being said, guys, I think I'm about to head on out. My voice is getting a little bit raspy for talking nonstop for an hour. Pick some awesome live stream. Thanks for the tips. You are so welcome. Thank you guys all for joining me today. What an amazing stream we had. This was just fantastic. You guys were so active in chat. I love it. Love it. Thank you to Andrew and Nick and those guys who stopped by, all the mods. Really do appreciate that. And with that said, without any further ado, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hit that stop streaming button. You guys have a wonderful and a fantastic week and rest of your month. And I will see you guys in my podcast, in my YouTube channel, and next month on the stream. Talk to you later.